y'all know me, you know I hate this up here. But I'm gonna let Will tell what happened because I simply don't remember. So, I've had it.
If only I didn't remember what happened. But I was there. First of all, because I'm going to forget, I just want to thank you guys. The prayers, the gifts. I mean, we had, like 28 days of meals brought to the house. We've heard so many stories of people that were praying and people that were, reaching out, and it's just, I just appreciate it. And as I keep talking, I'm going to forget to thank you guys, but I want to start out with that. So, kind of to start with, I kind of want to explain kind of me. This isn't about me at all, but I think it'll help as we move forward in talking. Most of you guys know me. Some of you don't, but most of you do. I don't deal well with stress or pressure or situations that aren't kind of in my wheelhouse. So, as is this here. I mean, I started laughing in the shower this morning, and she was getting ready at the sink, and she was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I just washed my hair twice." So, I do good. I need to, maybe a half a wash with what hair I got left, but that's me. That's me to a T. I don't, it's just not, my deal isn't dealing well in high pressure situations. And as we talk, you guys need to remember that that's me, Also, you can probably keep count of how many times I cry while I'm up here today. That's just proof that the way things transpired wasn't me. It wasn't me that went through all this. So, anyways, there's one right there. But anyways, kind of to give you a little backdrop about my miracle sitting here beside me. As Tim said, I woke up in the middle of the night and, I thought she was having a nightmare. And then I thought she was choking, and, then I kind of realized that it was a little bit worse than that. And, if you would have told me, hey, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and your wife's going to be having a seizure with never having one, never being a person that has headaches, never being sick, nothing. And if you would have told me that, I'd thought you were crazy for one, but if you would have told me, well, what would you do? I freak out. If it's outside of my square little everyday life, I freak out. I mean, and most of you that know me know that I ain't one, that's not how it goes. I'm liable to have 2 fits and a bad spell on you. And I just, but, I had my bearings. I picked her up, set her on the edge of the bed, called the ambulance, never didn't know what to do. They come and got her, took her to the hospital.
You called my mom.
Yeah, I called. I had enough sense about me to call her mom. It's not.
Because we had the kids. Cole and Connor were with us.
Yeah, and so not my jam. I don't communicate well. I'm not big on informing everybody about everything. But anyway, that's the way it went. That's what happened. I followed the ambulance to the hospital. Never went crazy. I kind of kept it together. Also, not my jam. That's not me. It was not me. So, we got there, had 2 more seizures. I'm sitting there as helpless as you can expect, not knowing what to do. Like I said, she never was sick. She never had headaches. She never had seizures, none of this stuff. So this is all outside of my little square normal box that I go through every day, you know, she said this morning, she said, if it's anything out of your routine, you cannot function. And I'm like, no. So for me to go through all this, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But, they brought her in, they did a CAT scan and some blood work, this, that, and the other, and I'm sitting there, she's not coherent, but maybe a minute every 15 minutes. And so, I'm doing the only thing I know how, and that's pray. What do? You can't do anything. It's just like one of your kids. If you've got kids, you're helpless. If it's on you, you kind of feel like you got control, and us dads and us husbands, that's our deal. We think we are men and we control and we can take care of everything, and that's Mr. Fix-It kind of deal, and that's just the way we are. But in this particular situation, all that was stripped away, and it continues to strip away as I'm going to get into this. But it's just you and God, and your prayers are pretty short. It's mostly me pleading, because you're what do? You have to trust other people to take care of it, because you don't have a clue what's going on. So, they come in, and the doctor come in with the results, and basically he pulled me out in the hall and said, man, he said, I got bad news, and I've just watched her go through her third seizure and about bite her tongue off. But, he said, your wife is, she has a mass on her brain. It's two. So what do? You're me, Mr. Freakout, and I don't say a word. I don't have. I take it and I process it. And there's he says she's going to have emergency surgery to remove it. There's no second opinion. There's no we could do this or this. It's got to go now. And so there I am. I can't go to my girl and talk it out and let her make the decision for me, because I don't do that either. But it's me and God, and that's it. And so I don't freak out. I don't get all crazy. We go into the hospital. They get prepping for surgery. They're doing MRIs, and they're all these details of how big it is, and the emergency side of it, that it has to be now. So I'm trying to, I'm me, I'm not dealing well with all this, but I'm not a very calm guy anyway, but I'm pretty calm through this whole deal. And looking back, I can say that I wouldn't. You'd asked me then, I'd have freaked out. But I was dealing with it, and so they started explaining the pros and cons of this process. And basically, the lady tells me that they're going to take the frontal left lobe of her brain off. They're just going to take it out. And, to hear that, and I'm 2 days ago, we're chilling. Like, we don't, nobody's sick we're fixing to crack your wife's head open and go to business and get it done. And, what's the causes of this? No idea. What could we have done different? All this stuff, and you're pleading with God the whole time. You're alone a lot when you go through this stuff, especially during a global pandemic time period, which is kind of where this fell back in February. So there isn't a lot of interaction like there might be or might have been 3 years ago. But so you got a lot of time to try to process stuff. And they said, hey, she may have to learn how to write again. She may have to learn how to talk again. She may not know who you are. All these are pretty likely in a procedure like this.
My personality may be different.
Your personality, that was
He prayed for me not to come back as a heifer. I mean.
Yeah. So, there we were, and this was coming, and we couldn't do anything about it, and it is out of my box of comfort. And anything outside of that, as I've said, is I'm out. So there I am in this situation, and so we go, and then comes to deciding who's going to do it and where they're going to do it, and all this mess that I'm not in. I don't do that. I go talk to her, and then she tells me what we're going to do. So it's easier that way. But she's not able to do that, and so it makes it a little bit different. So all this stuff goes on, and I want to say, did I wake up and I was a stronger man that morning all of a sudden? No. Did I wake up and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to start dealing with stuff in this way? Nope. Did I, how you guys know yourself, how would you guys have reacted? If you'd have told me 2 years ago, hey, this is going to happen in February of 2021, how would you react? I'd have told you I'd have been just a daggone mess. And I'd have probably cried in the corner. And, I told you I would have. But, did I wake up and, deal with life differently that morning? No. But when you got down to it, when it was done, when he was going through it, as Tim alluded to a minute ago, when you're stripped down and there is nothing left, you have zero control. You don't know what to do. He's there. So that's the only way I can explain being able to make it through, is because when it got to that point, he was all I had. And there's just, I hope and pray that none of you guys ever have to go through anything like that, but I didn't go through it by myself. And because I couldn't, obviously I ain't built for that. But when the dirt meets the road, or whatever that saying is, whenever the rubber hits the road, I guess that's it. He's there. He's always there. We usually have enough control of the situation that we don't let him in all the way, and then we wonder, how many times have you asked yourself, man, where's God? What is he letting this happen for? What's going on here? God, this, we have all this mess, and, where's God? Why ain't he helping me? Why ain't he doing this? He's there. It's just, we don't let him in a lot of times. And so when it was, and I didn't say, okay, I'm going to turn it over to God, and I didn't say that, but I had to do that. There was nothing left of me to give. I didn't know the outcome. I didn't know, I don't know about brains or, where you're going to be when all this shakes out. She might not know who I am. Where do you go from there? When your wife, you're the girl that, that takes care of you and helps you get through each day. Somebody tells you, well, she may not know who you are. What do you have left? It's you and God. It's always been you and God, and it'll always be you and God. It's just a matter of the situation that you allow him in. And that's not my plan. But looking back on it, that was the only way that I made it through this deal, because that's not me. You know, I don't deal well with situations outside of my box. But you know, I'm gonna let Emily talk in a second, but he said keep it under 2 hours. So but I mean, you know, I didn't break down until this was over. And that was, you know, there was nothing left of me, but it never actually hit me until she come out of surgery. And they was wheeling her back out of recovery, and they said everything went fine. You know, they give you all kinds of information at the hospitals usually. Not, but anyways, she's fine, you know, and you know, obviously they hadn't evaluated her, but they let her in, you know, wheeled her in, and she looked up at me, and when somebody looks at you, you can tell if they know you, and she smiled, and it was her. And I remember turning around as they wheeled her in, and I lost it. It was the first time that I showed up and lost it. And 'cause she knew me, she had the remote control in her right hand, so she could use that hand, which was what they said she wasn't gonna be able to do. She knew me. She smiled, which is Emily. She's a positive, happy girl. But she smiled. I knew it was her. I just knew it was good. We was done. You know, in that moment with that hurdle, we'd made it, and I just lost it. But you know, if in that situation, that wasn't me. I was not by myself. You know, I looked up the verse yesterday. I forgot what it was, but it was in Deuteronomy, and he will never leave you or forsake you. It said it. They said it and said it and said it in the Bible. I mean, and that's it. You know, we always question everything because that's just who we are. But it's the truth. I mean, it's just the truth. And you know, looking back, that's the way it happened, and that's the only way we made it. Because that wasn't me. I was not the one that was, you know, I didn't know anything about medical procedures. I sell cold drinks. You know, that's not me. But, you know, after the surgery, she come out, everything was good. Then she starts remembering some of this, what happened. So I'm going to let her talk a little bit.
I remember what he told me. Okay. When we got home, 26 hours after surgery, I said, so what happened? And he said, you honestly don't remember anything. And I said, no, I honestly don't. And it was 11:30, like I said, Sunday night, the 21st of February. And it was like 7:30 Monday night before I ever asked where I was at. So I was completely out of it. But, you know, God's presence was there the whole time. You know, hindsight's always 20/20. And you can look back and see that. But, I mean, the fact that he knew my birthday, like, that he told, you know, in the ER what medicines I was on, and, you know, and he was like, they asked, does she ever have any headaches? I can count on one hand how many headaches I have in a year. I never have headaches. But you know, from the moment it happened, you know, my seizure happened in the middle of the night and I was in bed. I wasn't driving. My kids weren't present to watch all of it happen. You know, there he was. You know, Will is a light enough sleeper that he woke up to me, because I'm a heavy sleeper. I can sleep through a freight train. So, I told him, I said, well, it's a good thing it happened to me instead of you, because I don't know if I would have woke up. Let's see. I had people praying everywhere, and which, like you said, it's during COVID, and my dad's parents were actually in the hospital. So that allowed a couple extra people to be in the hospital, because my parents were able to be there. And then, you were able to be there, and because as he mentioned earlier, praying for my mom, my dad isn't allowed to be there because of COVID. So, I'm happy I wasn't alone. Okay, so I know church had people praying in the parking lot. I was told of a girl that we go to the gym with. She's a physical therapist. And she said that it was the day of my surgery, and she said that she kept looking at her watch. And she'd look down every few minutes. She was waiting for an update. And whoever she was performing physical therapy on looked like something was wrong. And she said, what's wrong with you today? And she said, well, and she still to this day hasn't told me, HIPAA, but she hasn't told me who it was, but she said, a friend of mine is having surgery today. And she's, and so they talked back and forth, and they figured out it was the same person, and it was me. And they prayed right there in the middle of physical therapy. Also, we're in the process of building a house now, buying land. I called the lawyer to draw up the deed on it. And the secretary said, do you happen to live on Greencastle Road? And I said, yes. She goes, do you remember a couple years ago when it snowed real bad, I stopped and used y'all's house phone? I said, I remember a girl. She said, well, that was me. She said, I followed your story on Facebook. And she said, I asked my church for prayer requests, and she said, you're still on our prayer list. And she said, I told my church I didn't know your name, but I know where you lived, and I knew you needed prayers. And it's just amazing how many people that you come in contact with that were praying for you that you had no idea. I had people in other states praying. I mean, my doctor that we found, my neuro-oncologist up in Louisville, he came recommended from somebody out in California that was cousins with another lady that we go to the gym with. I mean, just the amount of people we knew at the hospital, which, yes, it's a local hospital, but I mean, the girl that did my MRI, that prepped me and that did the mapping on my head, puts all the little dots on me, Will went to school with. I went to school with her younger sister. The lady that got me ready for surgery was one of his friends' mom. Just the amount of people, everybody, I mean, I do remember people coming to the hospital bringing flowers and food for Will. And I mean, Will's ex-wife brought popsicles and a phone charger, because she knew my tongue was gone. But I mean, it just proves. But and out of all the complications that I could have had, I didn't. There's sometimes I struggle to find the words, but I'm being told by a lot of people that just happens with age. But if anybody knows my past, they know I've come from a lot, just with my ex, and I have two wonderful boys to come from it, but and then I got two others that I'm very grateful to have, but Matthew 11:28, come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That just, I know I can't do it by myself. you know, I feel like I am in control of a lot of it, but I know I'm not. But, you know, here we are, basically a week and 1 day from 9 months from finding out I had a brain tumor. And it'll be MRIs for every 3 months for the, well, I guess another 2 years or so. And then it drops down to 6 months and then a year. But, I mean, they think it'll come back. But, you know, Will and I talked, like I said earlier, we were going to build a house, and I was pretty dark for a couple of weeks, adjusting to all my medicine and everything else. And I said, I just don't think we should do it. I just don't think we should do it. And I remember him grabbing me and saying, "Are you going to let this steal your joy?" And I was bound and determined no, because, you know, my dad raised me to think of, you know, it's all in what you make it, you know, like the Forrest Gump, life is what you make it. But it's true, you know, you get mad at your siblings or whatever, and you know, you'd say, "Well, they made me mad." And he said, "No, you allowed yourself to get mad. Can't nobody change your feelings. You allow that." And so, I'm not going to allow this to get me. So, and Will told me I have no expiration date stamped on my rear end. So, the doctors aren't in control. They can... But you know, the doctors only know what the textbooks say, and
That was hard to swallow.
yeah, you know, if you look up, it's a oleodenglioma is what I have.
Something like it.
That's the way I say it in Kentucky. But if you look it up on WebMD, which don't, but I would not. That's one thing that I'm not going to cause myself stress that is unneeded. Because like you said, you know, they don't know what will happen. So we're going, you know, I've had I guess 3 or 4 scans since surgery, and I have one on the 2 weeks, and every one of them showed stable, showed clear. I mean, there's still some residue, some scar tissue, whatever.
A little cancer.
Yeah.
Shining,
But it's not growing, which they say it's a slow growing cancer. So, and textbooks say it'll come back, but we're not betting on that.
it ain't gonna change the way we walk every day.
Right.
So, and that, you know, that's not me. That's her. You know that. You know, I don't. It's not really affecting me. You know, my body, but you know, we don't know what we don't know. So we're gonna keep rocking it out, and we're gonna do our deal. And if it comes back end of the month, then that's what's supposed to happen. So, you know, we can't change it. We can't, you know, make nothing. We can't control it. So it is what it is, and she's been incredible when it comes to being positive. You know, everybody knows somebody that's went through something kind of crazy mess, and they can either let it eat them and live that way, or they can say, "Oh, you know what? This is my deal, and God's blessed me," just as she said, in like hundreds and hundreds of ways. So I'm right where I'm supposed to be. There's a reason for everything. So we're gonna put one foot in front of the other and give Him all the glory and rock on. And so, I mean, that's just kind of the way she's looked at it. I'm not much sometimes, but she keeps me in line. You know, I haven't changed any. I still liable to go crazy in about 3 seconds, but.
Oh, our owner of our gym, you know, I was telling her that I guess it was 3 months ago now, but had a scan coming up, and she said, "Well, do you get nervous?" And I said, "No." So not really. Yeah, so I try not to worry about it. There ain't nothing I can do about it. And he said, "Don't worry, I got us both covered."
Yeah, I do all that part.
But I mean, there's no sense in worrying about it. In my opinion, that's just the way I have to look at things, because I can't. Because I would be a totally different person if I stressed over it. But so I just try to, you know, there ain't nothing I can do about it. Only thing I can do is pray. I'm gonna do that and leave the rest to Him. So
That's as far as we go as controlling anything is.
yeah.
As we pick it up and hand it to Him, and that's it. The rest of it's up to Him. We're still as blessed as we've ever been, and my girl's time with me is quite a bit more valuable now. But
It is deer season though, so I'm just teasing.
I'll be back in a couple weeks. But we're just normal, everyday.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, other than being thankful for more life, life's pretty normal.
We haven't let it affect us too much, so it can steal your joy. And we got our moments. Mama has her moments, and we get through it, and He continues to bless us and lead us and provide. So we're gonna keep on keeping on. But the amount of prayers, that's probably been the one of the biggest things for me is I've got, we know a lot of people, obviously. I didn't think we did, but we do. But the people that's reached out and the people that's we still see. I mean, even today, and it's like, hey man, I'm not much of a prayer, but man, I couldn't hardly get through the day when you guys were going through this without praying, and I'm just like, really. But it's just amazing to see God use a situation that's crap and affect not only her, but I mean, it literally probably thousands of people. I mean, we've got family in Florida, we got family in Indiana, and there was multiple churches in both states and a dozen churches in Kentucky. I mean, this social media is usually crap, but you can get some information out there pretty quick, and we received a ton of support, and I just, I'd love to thank everybody, but I don't even know where to start. But man, what a blessing! Like I said, I don't wish nothing on nobody, but it is what you make it, and you can't let it steal your joy. And my girl's done a good job of that so far.